My question is, it's based on, I just don't feel safe in relationships, particularly with men. I don't trust them. I have really no reason. Other than I created it. I don't know what to do.
Are you involved in a specific relationship now?
No, there was somebody in my past, but based on my dominant, feelings towards relationships, it was, of course, unable to work.
So just talk to us, and don't try to guide this in any way that you think we would like to hear, but just for the sake of expressing so that you can feel and we all can hear more clearly what your dominant vibration is. And we already know it, but just talk a little bit about what relationships mean to you. What has your experience been? You can even talk about the last experience if you want to. Just sort of ramble about what experiences with men have been like for you.
Okay. I've never really allowed anyone to get close to me. In my last relationship with this man, I didn't believe anything he said. I didn't believe that he cared about me or that he adored me. I really just sought more for I didn't trust that I was, I guess, worth loving, but at the same time, I saw myself as so much better that I turned around and justified it as if he's not good enough, but really the reality of it was that I saw myself as not being good enough.
We were visiting just last week with a wonderful woman who was talking about the same subject of fear with her little one, but this little one was terrified of spiders. So we said to her, well, where did she get this fear of spiders? And her mother said, well, I don't really know. We really don't make a big thing about spiders. And we said, well, what happens if you see a spider? And she said, well, we vacuum them up. And so then we said, well, tell us a little bit about that. And as it unfolded, it turned out that whenever her husband is very unhappy with spiders, and whenever a spider is seen anywhere in the house, everything stops, someone goes and gets the vacuum, and the spider is terminated. In other words, and so we were explaining to her that without meaning to, or without really even knowing it, they had been conditioning their child to have an unnatural fear of spiders. We want to show you how easy it is to have picked up these unnatural feelings about yourself or about relationships with others that leave you in a place that feels bound. And we're going to show you how, with far less effort than you think, you can just sort of like peeling the layers of an onion, just leave a little bit of that aside and a little bit of that aside until you're finally, in a very short time, where you want to be in terms of your vibration. And then, of course, the relationship that pleases you follows. Are you getting a sense of this idea of dominant vibration?
Yes.
It's a nice way to look at it, isn't it? Because you can feel. So let's take some subjects that feel a little bit off the subject of relationships and men for a little bit.
Okay.
And let's just feel around for the dominant vibration relative to some things.
Sure.
So talk to us about how you spend most of your day.
I'm a student. I go to San Francisco State, so usually I'm in class during the day, or I work in retail. And in the evenings, I do martial arts. I'm a Muay Thai fighter, so I train 5 nights a week.
As you are in the classroom, or even when you are in the library or when you are studying, what would you say your dominant vibration is relative to what you're learning? In other words, do you feel confident?
I feel extremely confident.
Now, when you are at work, what do you think your dominant vibration is? Are you confident again?
Definitely.
Now, talk to us about the martial arts training that you're doing every night.
I love it, and I know I'm good at it, but I've also been told that it's dominant in terms of the way I've always lived my life in terms of being defensive. But I love it. I think it's fun.
And what is the nature of it? In other words, it is an activity that puts you in a place of strength so that you could defend yourself if you need to?
Yes.
At the basis of all of that, we think it is wonderful that you've found something that you are enjoying so much. At the basis of this activity, or the reason for moving into it, Do you think that your feeling is one of weakness and vulnerability? Or do you think it is one of being in charge of your own life and of strength?
Now I see it as strength.
When we feel you, apart from the relationship and apart from anyone else's scrutiny, we can feel a self-confidence within you. But when you talk about that relationship, it seems that someone else's opinion is activating something within you that's giving us a different reading. What do you think that's about? Was this person verbal about you?
I mean, it was purely admiration, nothing negative.
So do you think that your feeling about not being good enough did not come from that person?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Came from before? Do you know where?
I think that it happened when I was in first grade. I skipped first grade. I went from kindergarten to second grade. And then they put me back into first grade to be with my age. And I think at that moment that I saw myself as not being good enough.
Let's go back to this story of these wonderful parents and their little girl who was afraid of a spider. Because we want to help you to realize that you pick up your feeling about self, you pick up your association with life from situations like you were talking about in first grade. And the opinion that you discover, but that you continue to practice, sometimes you can bring with you for a very long time. And we can stand here today and say, well, that's irrational. Let it go, move on, be the woman that you are today, never mind the child that you were then. But when you say, something happened at that phase of my life, and without knowing it, I developed a vibration that I've been practicing it ever since, then we say, if you've been practicing it ever since, and it is now the dominant part of your vibration relative to the subject of relationships, well, now maybe it is something worth talking about just a little bit, or maybe it is worth addressing the subject of how you feel about you and practicing some other thoughts that are more dominant. And the reason that we are willing to go back and address an early issue is because we're wanting you to realize what a simple thing it was when it got started and what a simple thing that it could be to change it even now. It's just a dominant vibration. It's a more practiced thought. Sometimes people say to us, yes, but Abraham, I've thought it since I was in the first grade. So now, don't I need many, many years of practicing another thought? And we say, no, because it was something that somehow you were convinced of, and then you continued to think it, not purposefully, but often. And when you begin to think thoughts purposefully with reason, and the purposeful thought that you choose is one that is in alignment with your source, that thought holds a lot of weight. In other words, you can make a lot happen in a very short period of time by aligning with the you that you really know as you. So let us go back to the little girl and the spider. So her mother initially said, we don't make a big deal out of spiders. And then she said that they vacuum them up when they find one. And then she said that her little girl would not sleep in her bed at night. She was afraid to go to sleep. And we said, well, think about it. She watches you all day long, and when a spider, which is frequent, they find 3 or 4 a day, the mother said. When a spider is found and everyone stops everything that they are doing and they deal with the spider, can you see how the spider takes on a place of importance to this little child? Anyway, everyone stops everything and all they do is track down that spider and make sure that it is dealt with, you see. And then the child is lying in bed at night in the dark, not sure that there might not be spiders that no one is seeing, spiders that no one is dealing with. And her impression of the spider is that it is important enough that it is dealt with, so what if it's there and no one's dealing with it? In other words, we said to this woman that these are unnatural fears. In other words, the natural relationship that a child has with a spider is, oh, look, there's a spider, or wouldn't you rather be outside? It was an opinion that did not serve her, that she learned from parents who did not even know they were teaching it to her. They are not comfortable with the spider, but they never stopped to think about how it was affecting the way she was viewing her relationship with her life. All of you have had lots of these experiences as you've been coming along. And so it's logical that you do have beliefs or opinions or attitudes that are not serving you very well, that are as illogical as that was, that you don't even know where you picked it up. It's not somebody else's fault. It's not anybody's job to coddle you and to make sure that every thought that you have is a purely wholesome, life-giving thought. In other words, we're not suggesting that. What we are suggesting is that you finally stop and begin to understand that it's logical in this comparative world that I'm a part of that I may have some issues about who I am. In other words, Esther watched Jerry. It was really a wonderful thing because his heir was a big mess. In other words, it cost them time that they didn't really have. It cost them even more time to clean up after it. And Jerry was absolutely and utterly unapologetic about it. And that was surprising to Esther. Because if Esther had left the oil cap off, she would have been begging for forgiveness. She would have been promising anything, even though Jerry would not have shown any upset about it, and Esther did not show much open upset about it. In other words, in this comparative world, how do you ever decide what is the most appropriate of all? And what we notice as you compare yourselves scholastically, intellectually, physically, religiously, politically, economically, sociologically, as you compare yourselves, this constant arena of comparison, very often, a large number of you come up with the opinion that you are less than you should be or less than you want to be. And we think it is because you let some unnatural and unthinking and really well-meaning comparative person who is examining you set the tone for how you feel about you. And we would like to find a way of just sort of helping you to shake all of that off and to stand and look into the face of anything that you are looking at, whether it is society or a memory of a mother or of a friend or anyone, and just say, I really am perfectly all right the way I am. I'm not like that, and I'm not like that, and I'm not like that, and I'm not like that. I'm not like anything else that you've ever known. I am uniquely that which I am. We're wanting to help you to find a way of accepting once and for all the perfection of who you are. And we want so much for you to find this place where you really are so sure of who you are that anyone else's opinion of who you are does not matter at all. In other words, we want you to be able to leave the oil cap off, or to mess something up altogether, or to blow an exam, or to crash your car, or to do any other number of things that much of the world would say, well, that was certainly an inappropriate thing for you to do. And we want you to be able to stand proudly and say, hey, I did that, and it doesn't have any relationship to who I am. In other words, who I am is source energy physically embodied. Who I am is pure positive energy out here on the leading edge, sifting through all of this stuff for the new idea. Who I am is an eternal seeker of alignment with who I am. But I'm not going to let any outside standards or judgments confuse me about who I am. And we feel that that's what is at the basis of all of this for you. In other words, when you let somebody in really, really close, where they might really, really know, then you start worrying about what they really, really think. And we want you to reach, all of you, to reach the place where it just doesn't matter to you so much what anybody else thinks. It only matters to you how you feel. And when you reach that place, then you attract those people that agree with that. Does that make some sense to you? Yes. We do not believe that anyone could sit in a room like this, whether you're in the hot seat or not, and hear someone like Abraham, who knows the perfection of who you are, telling you how really good you are, how really wonderful you are, how really right you are, how really expansive and ever-changing that you are. And we don't think that any of you could get it even close to the way we know it and mean it. What we hope to do is to incite within you a desire to train yourself into that dominant thought. We want you to train yourself into self-appreciation, and you just do it one little thought at a time. Want to talk some more?
No, that's perfect.
One little thought at a time. We want your mistakes, whatever they may be, to strike you as humorous. We want your opinion of yourself, no matter what. We want you to look for a redeeming feature.